Now, I suggest that anyone who isn't at this point ethically concerned isn't thinking deeply about this.
The specific case you mentioned as well, Douglas, I think it's Lisa Pawley. Can you tell us a bit about her?
She gave an interview recently. She's one of a number of people who've said, they're sort of looking forward to next March. The Canadian government itself presents the development of the new law as if it's a sort of wonderful, exciting new opportunity for the Canadian public. It's pretty dystopian if you think about it like that. A woman called Lisa Pawley is one of those who seems to be viewing it in that light. She's a 47-year-old woman, and she's suffered from anorexia for most of her life. She's had it's very debilitating eating disorder, and unfortunately for her, unlike many young women who have it, she hasn't been able to shake it off. She hasn't been able to get rid of it. She currently weighs, I think, 6 stone, 6 pounds. She is too weak to carry groceries back from the shop. She says, every day is hell. I'm so tired. I'm done. I've tried everything. I feel like I've lived my life, was the quote she gave. A 47-year-old who feels that they've lived their life is a 47-year-old in need of help. And I would submit that anorexia, which is an incredibly debilitating condition, as anyone knows who's either had it themselves or had a family member or a loved one who's had it, knows that it requires very, very intense help, love, support, and much more. But the message given off by a society that says, actually, we've got a cure for anorexia, it's medical assistance in dying, is a society that gives out one of the worst messages possible to the predominantly young women who suffer from that condition. To do something truly atrocious, you have to wrap it up these days in the language of compassion. You can do almost anything, get away with almost anything in a modern society if you talk about it in compassionate terms. Once you get onto euthanasia, medically assisted dying, as they call it again in Canada, MAID, once you get onto that and you say you have a society that says mental illness and physical illness are on a par, then you allow people to find a way on the state to be killed, effectively, assisted to die because they have a mental illness. Last year, a member of the Canadian Armed Forces, a veteran, called this Veterans Affairs Canada, which is a sort of veterans support association. He was suffering from PTSD. So bear this in mind. This is a young man who had been sent to war by his country, had presumably seen some of the things you see in war. War is always unpleasant, always traumatizing to some extent to the people who participate in it. This man had been sent out by his country. He's now returned. He should be getting the best possible care, as all veterans should be. When he called Veterans Affairs Canada, unprompted, it was suggested by the person he spoke with that perhaps he should try euthanasia. PTSD is, especially it's been somewhat overdiagnosed in recent years, but PTSD for soldiers and veterans is a very serious thing which needs very serious, again, love, care, compassion, and treatment. The idea that you would, as a society, say, we will send our soldiers out to fight and kill and potentially die for the country, and if they find it all too traumatic, once they get home, we can kill them. This is not a dystopia. This has already started, and all in the name of compassion. Societies that do this will, among other things, become far less, just as the Netherlands and Belgium are far less developed in palliative care than Britain is, and the doctors involved have told me this, because they have euthanasia in those countries. So a country like Canada that believes that medically assisted dying, euthanasia, is a good response to trauma, to anorexia, and much more, will be a society that is less good at treating people with those conditions in the way in which they should be treated, because they will be offering death as one of the options on the board of treatment.